Three, two, one. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking to something that probably every short-term rental host will experience at least once in their business, and that is about getting a bad review. But today I'm going to talk about how to get it removed because that happened to me, and it's not the end of the world, but I thought, you know what, I should share these steps so that if you find yourself in the same situation, you can do what I did. So let's get into it. So let me share my screen. So how to remove a bad review from your guest. It's so annoying. And the first thing that comes to mind is you're just like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe this, especially if you feel like you've done everything you can to be a really good host and your property's nice, especially if you have a property that has always gotten 5 stars. So it is super frustrating. And here's the thing. And I was mad. I'm not gonna lie. I was mad. So don't get mad. At least be mad and then take the steps we're going to go over. So it is a temporary setback. So even if you get a bad review that you don't think you can warrant, or that you can't get removed, just know that when the bad reviews, as you get good reviews, it'll eventually fall to the bottom. The other thing is, if you do get a bad review and you cannot get it removed, make sure that you publicly, acknowledge whatever the person was talking about, what steps you're taking, because even though somebody might read the bad review, you do have an opportunity to kind of respond to it publicly as well. So, make sure you do that. So let's talk, before I get into what happened, let's talk about how to avoid. And this will also help you if you do have to take the steps to remove a review. So number one, always communicate on the platform of wherever you booked. Now, when you have direct booking, you don't have to worry about this so much because you're kind of in charge of your own reviews, so you can remove those bad reviews or whatnot. And direct booking usually is, repeat people, very rarely are you going to take like brand new people, unless you're just, have a lot of Airbnbs, or you vet the person. So this is specifically, I'm talking about like Airbnb, VRBO, Furnished Finders, there are other platforms. So keep all the communication on the platform, even if they call you, because most people probably have your cell number or some number, and they call you, make sure you respond back, hey, per conversation, blah 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 blah. So you want to have all the communication on the platform. And then my second tip is to make sure you hire professionals. So I'm not saying, you got to, if you're doing it yourself, hey, great. I self-manage. I don't clean my properties, but if I did, then I know the cleaning's really good. So I know a lot of people clean their own properties. But if you do have to hire somebody, make sure you have a good cleaning crew. Don't just go with the cheapest person. I mean, I know, costs are very important, but so is your business model. And if you continue to hire poor cleaners, you're going to get poor reviews and eventually get kicked off the platform. And then it defeats the purpose of even having a short-term rental. Same goes with co-hosts and property managers. And you want to set expectations, and you want to check references, and change immediately, like especially with property management. I mean, if they're not taking care of your property, and a lot of times property management companies have the reviews under their name. But so if you start over, so you want to make sure it's in your name. And same with cleaning. I might give them one. I mean, if it's just a small infraction and it didn't, but if I got a 2 on a cleaner, I would be like firing them right away. There's no second chance to make a first impression, right? I mean, that's all there is to it. Document every message to the guest, before and after pictures. So your before pictures are your listing pictures, and then have your cleaner take pictures afterwards, even if it looked good. All right. Because in this case it did. When you address issues, like if the guest does contact you, what did you do? What did they, complain about? How did you take care of it? And remember to keep it all on the platform. So stay calm if you get a bad review. So I have to say, when I first read it, I was like, what? Are you kidding me? And I know you understand that, right? Because we do a lot of work to be, super host. That's what we do. And so when we get a bad review, kind of like, it almost just took me aback. So first thing I did is I contacted support. And in this case, the example I'm going to give you was Airbnb. But whoever you did your booking with, contact them right away. And what you're going to be doing is you want to, state factually what is the guest, dinging you for? Is it on cleaning? Is it on smells? Is it on location? Is it on your amenities? Not as advertised. Like, what is the guest complaining about? Why did they rate you low? So first off, is it your fault, right? Did you, or the cleaner's fault? I've had that happen where, maybe they didn't show up or they didn't do as good of job. I've gotten, like a point taken off or something like that. So what is the issue and can you state it factually? So first you have to make sure that, you didn't warrant the review, right? And then what happened during the stay? Did the guest contact you about the issue? Did they, how'd you handle it? Was it all on platform? Did the guest contact, Airbnb or VRBO about whatever the complaint was? Was the complaint within your control? The cleaning, the amenities, the location, what do you have control over, basically? And I'm going to give you some examples as I go here, because part of this review was I didn't have control over what happened. So this is what happened. This guest left me a two. That's bad. So if you're not familiar with the ratings on Airbnb, 5 is great, 1 is terrible, right? And if you continue to get 1s and 2s, you'll just get kicked off the platform. If this review had stayed, then probably what would have happened is I would have got a gram from Airbnb saying, hey, you got a problem with your listing. So here's what she complained about. She complained about the outdoor bugs. No bugs inside, just the outdoor bugs. Okay, this is a lake community. We have bugs. She complained about a hose that was not rolled up the way she thought it should be. She complained that the police were called. There is a story there. She said that the house was old. The guest stated that there was black mold, okay, which really kind of got me, because black mold, can get you shut down or whatever. And she complained that there were no cushions for the outdoor furniture. So that was why she left me a 2.0. Those were the things that she put in her review. So I was like, okay. Now, because I haven't seen her review, and even if I hadn't, I would have left the same review, but I gave her a 5. I mean, she left the place clean and tidy. She followed my house rules. I never heard from them during their entire stay, even though I had asked her, we're pet friendly. And I always ask my guests, hey, are you bringing pets? What kind? Because I want to, first of all, make sure they paid the pet fee. And then I want to know what kind of pets they are, just, because my neighbors have pets and things like that. So just want to make sure. And we have items, we have amenities for pets because we're pet friendly. So I need to let them know. And I still gave her a 5 on communication, even though she never answered that question. So needless to say, I was shocked at this 2 review. So what steps did I take? Well, I took a deep breath, after I got over the initial shock. And I contacted my cleaner right away, and I had her send me pictures of what this person was talking about. And then I went back and looked at all the communication with myself and the guest. And then the next thing I did is I contacted the Airbnb Superhost hotline. That's just because I am a Superhost, but I mean, you can contact their customer service. And I presented my case and I said, hey, I let the support staff know that I was calling to dispute this review. And make sure to have your reservation number handy, because I had to go back and get that. And so let's talk about the bugs. So in our listing, right, I say we have a lot of bugs. We have quarterly pest control, but we're in a lake, waterfront. A lot of mosquitoes this year in Texas. It's been hot. There's bugs, there's lizards, there's snakes. And so we talk about all of that. So we have regular pest control, but we also provide like bug spray. We have like a sweeper broom for spider webs and things like that. So we do have something, in place for pests. Now she didn't complain of any bugs inside the house, which there's not. Okay. So now we did have an issue. My Ring camera went off around 11:30 and I was like, okay, what's going on? And so there was a group of teenagers, in this big driveway that we have. And it turns out, I mean, long story short, it was my neighbor's kids. We know the neighbor, we know the kids, good kids. And they were just out there horsing around. So, but I didn't know because the Ring camera, it was kind of grainy. I didn't know who these guys were. And so what I did is I messaged the guests, hey, are they with you? Because they had told me that they were going to be there, had some family. I did contact the deputy office, sheriff's office. It's a rural community. So, it's a non-emergency phone number you call. They were over there within 20 minutes. They called me. They said, hey, everything's good. Do you want us to go talk? I said, oh, I'm sorry. I found out it was my neighbors. Do you want us to go talk to your neighbor? I was like, no, it's okay. It's all good. And at the same time that the deputy was there, the guest pulled up. So they weren't even there during this whole time, right? But I never did hear back from her. So that's when she was talking about the police were called. That's what she was talking about. And then I talked to the support staff about the comment that she made about old. So this is a completely remodeled property. And in her messaging, not in the review, but in her messaging, she had actually stated how nice the inside was because it's all updated. And let's get real, the house is like 1985. It's not that old. So it was the neighbor kids, all was good. And I did two things here. I contacted Airbnb support the first time to let them know, hey, I'm going to be contacting the police, or I did contact the police, the chef at the sheriff's office. And then I called them back and said, hey, all's good. It turned out to be neighbor kids, no big deal. So I covered myself both cases. I was also able to demonstrate how much I had communicated with the staff or with the guests because I had all of my messages, right? And one of the things they asked for is all the screenshots of my communication. So what I was able to demonstrate was that the guest was not communicated with me because one, I asked her 3 separate times and messages, hey, are you bringing any pets? And she just never responded to anything. On the old comment, I've already said this is like a completely updated property. And she had left how nice it was on the inside. And we did talk about so let's talk about the chairs. I have a picture to show you. So we have multiple, this is a very large deck area you can sit out. And we have a swim dock you can sit out. So we have all kinds of chairs. And we have about 8 chairs that don't even need cushions. But the chairs that she was talking about, okay, so we have some, I don't know how to say the word, aeronaut. No, that's not how. But anyway, we have a fire pit. And we have these wooden chairs. And there were no cushions, right? Because it's a fire pit. I'm not putting cushions around that. So we don't say that. And then I also want to address the black mold. So you can see the chairs. Now, if you have a lake property, this you get mildew. There's a huge pecan tree above the deck that has sap. And so sometimes it gets sticky, mildewy, but definitely not black mold. So Airbnb asked for some pictures. The one with the hose is actually what the guest was complaining about. So I sent that to Airbnb. So I just send the pictures. And of course they can see before pictures of the property. I sent them, they requested all the screenshot messages to the guests from the time that they booked, which I was able to provide. And then I just said, hey, we have a hose there. It might not be, there's a tree there and it's laying there and it's for the safety of the fire pit. Like if, it's very dry. So if something happens, it actually just has a thing on it. You could just spray. And then we talked about there's no cushions, so I just presented all of this to the support person that what she's complaining about. Number one, she never said, hey, where are the cushions at? And then I could have said, hey, we don't have cushions for that, right? So what was the outcome? Yay, I got it reviewed. But the thing is, I was able to get this review removed within 2 hours of contacting support because really, when you see what the guest was complaining about, bugs outside, and they even said that is not in my control. If she had complained about bugs inside, different story, right? And because I gave the guest a 5, they did ask me would I rent, let her stay again. I was like, no, because obviously, she's not happy with this environment, right? In fact, she even wrote that she would not be recommending my place. And I also had the history of 5 stars prior to this guest. So she was the very first one and only one who's ever dinged me so egregiously if you look at what she's complaining about. So to get a review removed, number one, you got to be prepared, right? So you can't be having text messages off platform, right? Because if it doesn't happen on the platform, they're going to say it didn't happen. So you need to make sure everything, you document all the conversations. Even if they call you on your cell phone, you call them, you just write back into the message section, hey, Nancy, thank you so much for contacting me about, you need more bug spray or whatever it is. So number one, you have to be a good host, right? We talk about this all the time, that this is a hospitality industry. And so you have to be responsive, communicate. And then, but you also need to cover yourself. So you want to document your conversations. You need to have, of course, you have your listing pictures. And if anything changes in your listing, make sure you update your pictures. And then I always, like, when we do change something or something is off, like we had a chair that was broken and we had to remove it, right? And I just said, hey, that chair's in the picture, but I had to take it out and it won't be repaired and it won't be back in the property for a week. So just FYI. So just communicate what's going on. And so the support people can see your before pictures, and then you want to make sure you can get some after pictures of anything that they might be complaining about. It's hard, I know, with smells, it's hard, but you just need to document that, maybe with a statement from your cleaner or something like that. Accurately describe your listing and surrounding area. So again, I talked about how this was, we have bugs, right? I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. There's a lot of bugs in Texas. And if you don't like bugs, then don't rent a cabin, don't rent a house on the lake, right? Or be prepared. And we have all kinds of things. I mean, we provide the candles, we have these fly traps and things like that. So we do what we can. Hire professionals, and remain calm and professional. It's not going to do you any good if you're yelling at the support staff. They're just there to do their job. So you've got to calmly report the facts, and you've got to have the documentation to make sure that they understand why you're disputing the review. So I hope that helps you. And I want to thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. Trying to grow that puppy. And, give me a follow on Instagram. I'm going to be doing some more things about short-term rentals. And just FYI, I'm just waiting any day now. I should get a certification so that if you're a realtor and you're watching this, I have a short-term rental class I'm coming out with that you'll be able to get CE credit for. So give me a like, give me a subscribe, and hey, if this was helpful, share it. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.